Computer.
I should have called Bonnie. Maybe she called
Who?
Bonnie.
She's here. She's on the computer.
Oh, how do I know that?
Because I was just talking to her.
I wasn't listening.
Okay. All right.
I'm dedicated.
Yeah. Here. No, you can do it. You do it.
Or just. I'd like to dedicate today's class to my mother, Sarah Bat Pinion. This is her yahrzeit today. Thank you. Thank you.
How many years has she gone?
19. A long time. I looked it up today.
Yahrzeit also tonight and tomorrow. Moshe Aaron, and he's gone 50 years. Wow.
And it's Rabbi's
He passed
grandmother's
away the
yahrzeit
night of
today.
his son's wedding.
Wow.
So that is- No, right after the wedding. He danced at the wedding, everything was good, and he said, I just wanted to relax and unwind, and that's where my husband's staying. How old was he? 52. A Holocaust survivor, and he was never sick a day in his life, and he survived everything, and one of those things happened. It was after the wedding. And that's why I'll always know the date, because my sister-in-law and brother-in-law have been married 50 years. And it's Irving and Telephone.
I knew it was your father.
Father-in-law.
Oh, because your father.
Jill, what was the last? Jill or Judy?
I have mine. Yes, I have it in here.
Oh, we just did Pasuk Aleph? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right, and then we went through, I got it. You know what, by the way, hello, I wrote begin 9:13. Hey, Mons, what, Steph?
Rabbi Salvation. Because we're in his shul, the Cash Shabbat.
Oh, fun.
Wow.
That's so fun.
Because my children now
Okay,
are members of the shul.
all right. You know what, we're right on time for us, actually. This is perfect. Right. Yes, yeah. No, First Samuel 13. All right, so remember we were just saying that we were just going to go with the idea that this was just showing, you weren't here last week, right? Hi, Shel. Good to see you. No.
My grandson was visiting last week. He was very absorbed.
That's good. Your grandson.
Yes.
What we left with is that the idea that this was not going to be a successful kingship, right? We went through the different ideas as to why, you know what, for Shelley's sake, the first pasuk in Parakut Gimel is weird. It says, Ben Shana Shaul b'malcho u'shtei shanim malacha Yisrael. He was a year in his reign and he reigned for 2 years. So we know he wasn't a year old and we know that he reigned for more than 2 years. So we just went through different ideas as to what these mean. Was it because David was anointed in the second year? It's just bizarre. The author uses the familiar format that's always used for kings, but the numbers are completely off. So we went through a whole bunch of stuff last week, and the idea that resonates with me most, and everyone can choose what resonates with them, is just that it's just hinting that this is not going to be successful. And we're going to see right now, this is going to be his first war as king. He had one war already, right? Against Ammon, right? Yes, against Ammon with Nahash, the king Nahash, and that was a great war, but he wasn't king yet. So this is his first war as king, and he's going to mess up already.
Was it Michmash?
What?
Doesn't he automatically mess up and therefore lose the kingship? So is that?
Why do you mean automatically? What does
No, I
that mean?
mean, but that's sequentially in our story.
Yes.
So was that a 2-year, was it just a 2-year battle?
No. This is supposed to be the introduction. Anytime we have a new king,
Yeah.
and we have a book called Kings, and we're introduced to tons of kings, both in 2 kingdoms, both in the south and the north. And it's most of the time they're introduced the same way, how old they were and how long they reigned. So it's using that, but the numbers don't work. So the Mefarshim are trying to figure out what's going on here. So what is in fact going on is there's an illusion that this is, it's his first failing, and he's going to have 2 failings. He's going to have this war, sorry to break the suspense, and then the famous war against Amalek, right? Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Pasuk Bet, Vayivchar lo Shaul, Shloshet alafim Yisrael. Okay, these numbers are going to be significant like throughout the story. So he chooses for himself 3,000 men from Israel. Vahiyu im Shaul alpayim b'michmash. So he takes 2 of them and goes to this place called
I
Michmash.
know exactly where it is.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
My son-in-law, my grandson-in-law grew up in Michmash.
That's awesome. That's awesome. The book that I left at home, the big book, had a nice big map and whatever.
It's like driving the Grand Prix. It's trying to get
Yeah.
to Michmash from.
Where is it exactly, Michmash? Where is it? Is it north?
It's about
Here.
45 minutes south of Malaya Dulim. It's in the heart of the Judean desert.
Oh, wow.
It
Yeah.
is
I never even heard
The
of
drive is.
Here, girls. All right, ladies, look. Okay, so here, does anyone have this book or just I? Okay, I had a better map in the other book. I didn't want the other book for this, so that's not Avi's fault. I wanted the other book for something else, which we may or may not even get to. But if you look here with me, so here's the map of Israel. Here's the Dead Sea. Okay. And here, a little bit north of the Dead Sea is Jericho, like we know, right? And then if you go up a little bit more, you have Michmash.
Right.
So it's a little bit, so here's Yericho and here's Michmash. And then, yeah, so that's where it is. And the reason why it's even, yes, because Shelley brought it up to us. The reason why it's a little bit important, the geography, is because you'll see in a minute where he stations himself and where the Plishtim station themselves strategically, it makes no sense, okay? But that's going to go to this big test that Hashem and Shmuel are giving to Shaul, which he's going to fail. By the way, what you added last week kept me going. I love what it was, that because he was the first, like, why are they picking on him? It seems like we're right, Monica. Remember, you were also, it's like people are held to different standards. That idea that everyone's created equal, it's the way it was interpreted is a lie. What the founders of our nation meant when they said all men are created equal, they meant under the law. But people are not created equal. Get over it. You're taller, you're smarter, you're prettier, you're faster. We're not created equal. Get over it.
We're different.
So people have different standards. God judges people differently. We all judge people differently. If you're on a plane, right, and there's someone kicking the back of your chair, you get so annoyed until you turn around and you see it's a special needs kid. When you see it's a special needs kid, you go, oh, have a great flight, and you suck it up. If it's a regular 10-year-old kid, you look at the mother and you go, could you please? I mean, you have different standards for different people. That's just life, right? That's just life. Shaul is being judged, I think, and I know more than you at this point because I prepared, but you'll see with me when we get here. I think he's being judged really harshly. Like, geez, he's king for a minute and a half. Give him a break. But Tammy said it well last week, and it stuck with me the whole time. He's the first. He was the first, and we needed to set precedents, right? And standards. So you can't, because
He didn't want to be a king.
because if he already relaxes his standards, there's no hope. So you can't relax your standards. That's the problem. You got to keep those standards high.
And they had high hopes for him.
Yeah. So it's just so interesting.
Did you think so? Did you think Shmuel had high hopes or not really? You know, like.
No.
Anyway, so this place, Michmash,
He wasn't gonna have any high hopes for him because he wasn't supposed, he asked to be king. The Jewish people asked for a
no,
king.
but once Hashem, excuse me, once Hashem said, Shmuel, he's it. I mean, then let's do it, let's do it. Okay. Anyway, so Michmash. So Shaul takes 2,000 soldiers, the Michmash, Ubahar Beit El. By the way, Beit El is right here. Sorry. So Michmash and Beit El is just a little bit to the west of Michmash, by the way. Okay. So he takes 2,000 people there. The LF, right? He took 3,000. The other 1,000, Hayuim Yonatan, Bigivat Bidyamin, V'yetar Am Shilach Ish Lo Olo. So the other 1,000 he sends with Yonatan, and everybody else, all the other soldiers, he sent back home. Okay.
Wait, but that is 3,000.
He took 3,000.
2,000, one place, 1,000.
Nachon, and everyone else he sent home. Oh, yep. What you're saying is,
3,000.
no. So more than 3,000 came. More than 3,000 came. He took two. He needed 3,000, 2 and 1, and everyone. But wait, huh? What'd you say? Thank you.
Right.
It's as if I put you in the audience and asked you to say that. Who the heck is Yonatan? Ruby, do you know who Yonatan is? No, because this is your first term learning Shmuel, and you are lucky because you get to do this. Because most of us already did Shmuel, so we know who Yonatan is. You know also? You're a big shot. But the point is that this, okay, again, so Yonatan is Saul's son, Jonathan, and we know he ends up being David's best friend, and we know, because we all know this, because this is not our first rodeo. But hello, a little introduction for first-time readers, please. This is not ordinary. This is not the way it's supposed to be. Again, this is weird. This is weird stuff. And in fact, we do meet Yonatan in an official way, but not for a few psukim. And here, if I'm not mistaken, it's in Pasuk Ted Zion, in Pasuk 16, V'Shaul, V'Yonatan Beno, so finally, later on, the text tells us, and for first-time readers, who this Yonatan is. Let me just see.
He was Shaul at this time. I thought he was young when he was anointed. I thought he was a lad, a na'ar when Shmuel found him with the donkeys.
How could you?
Yeah, it didn't say.
When Shmuel found him, he was a na'ar that looked after his father.
No.
Couldn't be a very good person for him.
By the way, at the end of Perek, forget the pasuk I just told you, that wasn't a good one. At the end of Perek Yudalid, really at the end, 1449 Memtet, Yudalid Memtet, this should have been at the beginning of 13. Read with me the end of 14. Yudalid Memtet, V'hiyu b'nei Shaul, Yonatan, V'yishvi, V'malki, Shua, V'shem shtei benotav, Shem ha'bechira Merav, V'shem haktana Michal. This should have been at the beginning when we meet Shaul at 13. Again, this is going to that theory that this is not going to be sustainable. Like, this is just not, he's not getting the kavod that he should have gotten as the first king of Israel. And what Amnon Bazak says, that the original location of this pasuk that I just read to you, the end of Perek Yudalid, he says it's reasonable to assume that the original location of this pasuk was at the beginning of Perek Yud Gimel. That's probably where it should have been. because that's where it always is with the other kings. I'll give you an example. If we look at when we meet David, when we meet David in Shmuel Bet, in Samuel 2. Oh, I don't have it. Who has Shmuel? I mean, I do. I have a Tanakh. I have a Tanakh. But if you look in Shmuel Bet,
So we don't need David in Shmuel.
no, but when he becomes king,
Oh.
when he becomes king,
Here's Shmuel Bet.
5:4. So we meet him, second Shmuel. Here. Yeah, so they anoint David in Pasuk 3. Yes.
Yeah.
In Parakeh, Pasuk 3, they anoint David. And then in Pasuk 4, Ben Shloshim Shana David b'malcho, right? As opposed to Shaul being 1, right? So he was 30. Arba'im Shana Malach, and he reigned for 40 years. There's our typical. And what follows automatically? B'Chevron Malach al-Yehuda Sheva Shanim, okay? He was in Hebron. And then if you go down a few more psukim, I just lost my place. 5, 4, in 13 and 14, so a few psukim later, Vayikach David od pilagshim benashim, he took more concubines and wives from Yerushalayim. Vayivaldu od leDavid banim v'banot, he had more children. Ve'elu shemot hayigaladim lo b'Yerushalayim, Shamua v'Shovav, Natan v'Shlomo, right? And then Elisha and Netheg. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's at the beginning. It's right in the first few psukim when we first meet him, as opposed to the end. Oops, sorry about that, and thank you. Anyway, so, but in order to upset the usual framework, this pasuk was put off to the end, right? To the end of the war. So it creates a difficulty identifying who this Yonatan is, like Julian pulled out, who is Yonatan? And this difficulty strengthens the impression that there is something wrong with Shaul's kingdom. This is Amnon Bazak's theory as to why this pasuk is out of order. It's just, little things that there's something. What's that line from Shakespeare? Like something's awry.
Something's rotten in Denmark.
That's what this is. That's what Amnon Bazak thinks is going on here. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like it. I'm spitting out this candy. I can't talk with it, and I think my throat come down. Okay, yes, on video. What? No, those make me sneeze. Too minty. Thank you, though. Okay. All right. So now we can move to the story itself. So we hear at the beginning of the. We're going to see. Okay, let's read. So. All right. Vayach Yonatan et Nitziv Plishtim asher begeva vayishmu Plishtim v'Shaol taka b'shofar b'chol haaretz lemor yishma'u ha'ivrim. So Yonatan first, he just gets rid of the big guy in Plishtim that was located in Geba. If you remember from the parak before, they had garrisons set up all over the country. Remember, we had discussed like once upon a time they were by the water, but they had moved themselves in and were really taking over. Yes, and so he gets rid of his local, but that big local guy, the Netziv Plishtim that was in Geba, and then he blows the shofar. Blowing the shofar is signifying the beginning of a revolt, right? Or a battle. And it's familiar to us from other places. It's always very often that they blow a horn at the beginning of a revolt. And just to let everybody know that, that there's a revolt starting. Okay. Let me see what I wanted to add on here. Yeah.
Against the police.
Yes.
Jonathan Slither,
Yeah, I'm listening.
Jonathan Slither, the commissioner, and the shofar blew to say that Saul Slither, the commissioner.
No, to say that now we're going to go to war. He got rid of the head, and now they're going to go to war against the police team. It's a lot. Yes, that was the first, World War I. You killed the Archduke.
Saul had slain the commissioner.
Vayach Yonatan et Netziv Plishtim.
Look at the next sentence.
Okay, so what? V'chol Yisrael where are you reading, Al? Yonatan Yach Yonatan et Netziv Plishtim asher begeba v'yishmu Plishtim v'Shaul taka b'shofar. Shaul,
Right?
right?
Announcing that.
Yeah, just saying, let everyone know that it's about to begin. I'm confused what you're.
It says announcing that Saul has slain the Philistine commissioner and Israel has become despicable in the eyes of the Philistines.
I don't know.
No.
Just I don't know. Doesn't matter. I mean, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. So here's something very interesting. So then V'chol Yisrael Shamu Lamor Hikasha Olet Netziv Plishtim V'gam Niv. Oh, because okay, I understand what you're saying. When he blew the shofar and everyone heard that chieftain had been killed, that Shaul killed the chieftain, he gets credit for it, Shaul. He's the general, he's the king. That's but it doesn't matter. They're together. It's one team. It doesn't matter. It's the red team. It doesn't matter who on the red team did it. It's the red team gets the points. It doesn't, right? Yes, that's what it is. You're looking at the next pasuk. So right. So they heard that Shaul, right? So they heard that Shaul had killed the Plishtim, the red team, and also that Israel had become hateful to the Plishtim, and the people gathered after Shaul to Gilgal. So the question that comes to mind is, who is giving Shaul these instructions? Who's giving it to him? And if you remember, and I didn't remember, but if you remember from a while ago, when Shaul is with his Na'ar and he's like on the path and he's looking and the girls tell him, remember all the girls, oh, he's so cute, remember? And they were talking and they go, you want to go to the great guy, he lives there, and he goes. Do you remember that Shmuel and Shaul had some secret meetings? Do you remember that? I'll reread to you the psukim, but we did that. Remember, we said we made sure that they went ahead and the Nar wasn't with him. If we go back to chapter 9, this is when Shaul meets Shmuel for the first time, right? Remember, they were like up on the roof. There was all this secrecy going on. Let me just see the psukim.
17.
Here, 9:13. Right. Let me see. Down from the high, right? When they came down from the high place, he spoke to Shaul on the roof, right? In pasuk 25. In pasuk 25, Vayardu mehabama ha'ir v'yedaber im Shaul al hagag. 9:25. Does anyone remember that cute scene when they came down from the roof and they had like a little private meeting, Shaul and Shmuel, right? So that was one little private meeting, and then the conversation. And we said there that Shmuel was just talking to Shaul like business, giving him business, you're going to be king. This is what it's going to be like, giving him chizuk, how to be, right? And then the conversation continues the next morning. And once again in secret, they arose early in the morning, right? Look in 26. They awoke early in the morning. And again, Shmuel says to Shaul, come up with me to the roof. And they go outside. So you see all these little private meetings that were going on in that first meeting? Yes, Judy, remember? Is it ringing a bell? So anyway, so according to Amnon Bazak, this is where Shmuel is giving Shaul like instructions what to do for this first war. Because what was secret that was going on there that he wouldn't even have it with the Nar. So what we said back then is that he was telling him he's going to be king. but he didn't want anyone to know that he was going to be king. So that's definitely one of the things, and we still go with that theory. But also, he was telling him what's going to happen with his first war and giving him instructions, because otherwise, where is Shaul getting these instructions from? How does he know what to do? Why is he gathering in Michmash and in Gil? Like where? Right. Yeah. So, yeah. And it's funny because back then, Amnon Bazak says he's just drawing our attention to this phenomenon that they're having these secret meetings. He says in his notes, he says that I will explain later. I just want you to like remember that there's secret meetings going on here, and remember when it becomes relevant. And this is when it's becoming relevant, because when we get to this parak, like who's telling Shaul what to do? He has no experience. He's not like, you know, like a general. He's not like Eisenhower, that was a general that becomes president and knows what to do. He didn't know what to, right? I think it was a lot of fun to connect the stories together, you know, and just, I love that. Okay, so let's go back to where we are.
That's good.
Yeah. Oh, you're so cute. I don't know. Yeah, that's great, because we don't see Hashem saying, Vayomer Hashem el Shmuel. What?
There weren't so many battles when Shmuel was the.
No. And this is why they're asking for a king. They're asking for a king, Dafka, specifically because these Plishtim are really messing up with their day-to-day life. Like, they're really feeling it.
But he was the roving Navi, right, Shmuel?
Yes.
So he knew that.
He was the roaming Navi. I would like to say, though, Monica, I would like to say he was a roaming judge. I like to say he was a circuit judge more so. He wasn't roaming to give nevuah. He was roaming the country for, but yes, he was the roamer. He was the roamer, and he did not write off his gas or anything. He didn't take it off his taxes. Exactly. Just to stay lifnei Mashirat Hadzin, that no one should have any. Yes, exactly. Okay, so let's go back. Right. Shmuel's words to Shaul regarding the war is, Shmuel said, and you shall go down before me to Gilgal, right, Jillian? And tell you what you shall do. That's what Shmuel says to him. You're going to go to Gilgal. So now Shaul begins to fill the function, right, which he was appointed for. This is why we wanted a king, to fight the Plishtim. And so he opens the rebellion. Now, like I said to you, geographically, strategically, this was not a great move. By Gilgal and Michmash, it's really, if you remember last week, we showed you, they were huge amount, and we are down to 3,000. We're tiny. So it's really a very few versus many, and the weak against the mighty. And it's just an enormous gap between the Plishti forces and whose control extends within all of Israel and the limited forces of Shaul, and it's striking. I have a list here. The Plishti control in Israel finds its framework. Let me just see what I wrote here. Garrison. I didn't like this. Okay.
You told us about the sword last.
Yes, the Plishtim control the industrial infrastructure of Eretz Yisrael. If you look in this pasuk, in 19, should we just? That's okay. Some of the examples, should we just read through the psukim and then we'll see some of the examples? Let's just read through the psukim, because I was going to jump to pasuk Yatet to show you. I'll just, because I just, B'charash lo yimatzeh b'chol Eretz Yisrael ki amar ki amru plishtim pen yasu ha'ivrim cherev o chanit. If you look in pasuk Yatet, there was not a smith to be found in all the lands of Israel, because the plishtim would not let the Hebrews make a sword of spare. Baruch Shekivanu. Okay, excellent. So the only people, Yonatan and Shaul, were the only two people that had swords. Look in Chav. Vayardu kol Yisrael haplishtim leokosh ish et macharshto, ve'et eto, ve'et kardumo, ve'et macharishato. Right? Vayita hapsira This is what I wanted the book for. Pim lemarachashot oleitzim u'shalosh. Okay. Here, look in Chafbet. V'haya bayom milchemet, right? And it was the day of the war that neither sword nor spear was found in the possession of all the people who were with Shaul and Yonatan. The day of the war, cherev v'chanit biyad kol am asher et Shaul v'Yonatan v'timsal Shaul and Yonatan bano. There was nobody out of the 3,000 soldiers. Nobody had a sword or a spear except for Shaul or Yonatan, because the Plishtim would not allow us to make weapons. Huh? So we have, so pardon? Yes. So the point is, what's going on here? The case that they're trying to make, what Hashem is setting up here is that the king of Israel needs to know in his first war that it's all God. This is what is trying to go on here. This is what they are trying to establish. It's not your might. It's not your wisdom. It's not your strategy. It's nothing. It's all God. So that's why there are few people. There are no weapons. Strategically, geographically, it makes zero sense where they're set up. And this is a test. This is a test. If Shaul could sustain the troops, the people himself, could you imagine standing there against this huge army? It's really a crazy idea. And this was his test. And this is a crazy test of faith. This is a crazy test of faith. Yes. Yes. So listen, for comparison's sake, I told you this last week, but I'll repeat it. For comparison's sake, the Egyptian army, right, in Yam Suf, numbered 600 chariots. 600 chariots. Sisera, I told you this last week, Sisera with Devorah and Barak, right? They had 900 iron chariots. Shlomo's army had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen. And what do the Plishtim have? 30,000. So whether this is real or not, I have no idea. But the author is trying to tell you that they're huge. This is a huge army, and we are grossly unprepared. Zahara, the reason, I'm sorry, you said it 3 times, and I don't mean not to pay attention to you. The reason I don't think that this is similar to the Yom Kippur War is because the Yom Kippur War was a surprise. They came and attacked us by surprise. This was not a surprise. We were told to go and fight them. We were told to go and fight them unprepared. We were told to go and fight them with 3,000 people when they had 30,000. We were told to go and fight them when we didn't have spears or swords. We were told to go and fight them and to set up camp in a ridiculous place. So that's why it's not like the Yom Kippur War, because they came and surprised us. So yes, if you want to tell me it's like the Yom Kippur War, because we were unprepared to fight back, and for sure, but not the beginning part of it. Yes? You're with me? Okay, let's go back. Okay, Uplishtim I'm in Pasuk. Uplishtim nasku lehilachem im Yisrael 30,000 refa v6,000 prashim va'am kacho. Okay, so this pasuk, by the way, we're going to do a little comparison in a little bit between Gidon, the shofet, the judge, and we're going to do a little comparison between Shaul and Gidon, and then it's going to take a 90-degree turn, and it's going to be Gidon and Yonatan. Gidon and Shaul were similar. They start off similarly, the shofet, Gidon, and then Gidon he's a good guy, and Shaul does not rise to the occasion, but his son Yonatan rises to the occasion. So Gidon's beginning of the career is similar to Shaul. We're going to do that. Then it becomes similar to Yonatan and dissimilar to Shaul, but Yonatan ends up whatever. So you're going to see, so Va'am kechol asher al sfat hayam, it's the exact same language that's used in Gidon when he's fighting Midian. That's why I'm just bringing your attention to it. So when we get to it, it'll ring a bell. The people as numerous as the sand on the seashore. And they went up and camped in Michmash, Kizmat, Beit Aven. Okay, to the east of Beit Aven. 6. The Ish Yisrael ra'u ki tsar lo, ki nigas ha'am, ויתחבאו העם במערות ובמחבים ובסלעים ובצריחים ובעברות. And the people, the men of Israel they were frightened. They were frightened and they went and hid in caves, in the thickets, and in the towers and in the pits. The people in Gideon's war, by the way, also hid. You're going to see very similar language. They also hid in caves. The Ivrim of Ruat HaYarden, Eretz Gad v'Gilad v'Shaul Odena b'Gilgal v'Chol ha'am chardu acharav. And some of the Jewish soldiers were so scared that they actually crossed over the Yarden to the land of Gad, right? Reuven, Gad, and Chatzi, Shevet, Menashe, v'Gilad v'Shaul Odena b'Gilgal, but Shaul stayed in Gilgal, and the people hurried after him. And he waited 7 days, okay? Because Shmuel said to him, go and wait for me 7 days. Okay, so he goes and he waits 7 days. V'lo ba Shmuel ha-Gilgal. It's the seventh day. Shmuel hasn't shown up. Vayafetz ha'am me'alav. And the people are starting to leave. Because Shaul is saying, just wait. Shmuel's going to come and, and it's going to be good. And he's going to tell us what to do. And he's going to bring hocus pocus from Hashem. And it's going to be great. And Shmuel doesn't come. Okay, this is getting really exciting. So just let's put on our feeling. And Vayomer Shaul hagishu elai ha'ola b'hashlamim vayal ha'ola. And Shaul said, okay, bring me the burnt offerings and the peace offerings. Okay, bring me 2 types of different korbanot. Vayehi kechaloto la'alot ha'olah. When he starts preparing to, hopefully this works. Anyway, so he just finished offering up the olah. V'hinei Shmuel ba, and he shows up, yes. Vayitzei Shaul likroto levarcho. Okay, please, somebody tell me what this scene reminds us of.
The young men. There you go.
Off.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes, they were waiting and Moshe didn't come.
He said he was coming down on the 40th day.
He didn't come down.
And Aaron doesn't know what to do. He's fine. Let's do something. And then Moshe comes down. Shaul had planned to do 2 sacrifices, right? He finished 1, and then Shmuel comes, which means if he just had waited a little bit more, he was so close. It's not like he did both and had dinner and took a nap. He just finished 1. Had he just waited a drop more, Shmuel could have come, and it could have been a whole difference. Right? He failed. He failed right here. So Vayomer Shmuel, ma asita, right? What did you do? Vayomer Shaul, ki ra'iti ki nafata ame alai. Excuse number 1, right? Again, what is he doing? Blaming it on the other people. Va'ata lo bata, blaming it on another person. So far, the nation made me do it. You were late. Reason number 1, blame. Reason number 2, blame. And then uplishtim ne'esafim mimachmash. And the plishtim are gathered in Michmash. So here, when he's saying that, this is reason number 3. So if we were in high school and we had a test on this chapter, what are the 3 reasons that Shaul gave? The 3rd reason is the ideological problem. The first 2 reasons he's blaming others. You were late. The people made me do it. But the 3rd reason is lacking faith. That's on him. So, right? That's on him. Va'omar ata yerdu plishtim elai hagilgal. Right? The plishtim will come down against me to Gilgal. Upnei Hashem lo chiliti. And I didn't send any korbanot. I didn't do any davening. This is Shaul's big mistake, and I'm going to explain it to you. The et apak va'aleh ha'olah. So I offered up my burnt offering. Shaul, this is the problem. When Bnei Yisrael were sinning, okay, let's fast forward, back to the, Yeshayahu, Yirmiyahu, right? And when Yeshayahu is screaming, when Yeshayahu, beautiful, is saying, Lama li rov zivchechem, stop with your sacrifices, you're disgusting to the widows, you're disgusting to the orphans, you cheat, you steal, stop bringing me korbanot. On a scale from 1 to 10, that was bad, that was a 5. They're bringing the korbanot, at least they're bringing the korbanot that Hashem is asking for. Hashem says, I want a korban for this, we're doing that. Okay, so we stink in this realm, but what Shaul is doing is he's bringing a korban that no one asked for. That's a completely different, that's worse on a scale from 1 to 10, that's a 10. That's terrible. You don't bring, because the whole idea of, I understand.
Why is he sacrificing it to the Baal? I don't know.
Because the whole point is doing what Hashem asks you to do. That's the whole point.
So Hashem asked him to wait?
Hashem has no interest in a korban that he didn't ask for. The whole idea is to be soldiers and to do what he asks you to do. He wants this korban, give this korban. You're supposed to bring a korban. It's Baal Tosif. Don't do what I didn't ask you to do. Don't be so frum. So he didn't need, Hashem needs Shaul to just be his Eved, to just follow and do what he says. Hashem didn't say you need to make a supplication before you go to war. I got this war. Hashem wants it all to be about him. Follow my, so him saying, how could I go to war? Unless no one asked you. No one asked you to think for yourself. No one asked you. You're just supposed to be going.
The initiative of a king to think for himself?
He didn't know what to do, Shaul.
He didn't. That's why we started this class with saying, everyone is held to different standards, and he's being held to a really high standard, Nebuch. But nevertheless, he is being held to this standard, and he's just messing up. Unfortunately. Fortunately, Shelley, by the way, I don't know you to be such a liberal. Look at you. I like this part of you. I like this part of you, being Miss Softy. Look at you. I like that. It's because you just spend time with your grandson. I know you'll get back and be tough.
I'll be tough.
Anyway, no, I'm with you. Anyway, so listen to what Shmuel says.
Wait, but before you run, if he didn't take any leadership role, then the version would say, he was such a whim.
Right,
He
that's
didn't
what
do
I'm saying.
anything. He was an inactive king.
I know.
So that's what I'm
So
saying.
really, damn if you do, Shelley.
I'm with you. I know. I know.
Damn if you do and damn if you don't.
I know.
Hello,
I
once
know.
again,
No good deed goes
we
unpunished.
can make a case for.
100%. Yes.
Was judged too harshly.
Yes.
Suffered from mental illness.
Not yet. Not yet. I told you last week, it's not there yet, that mental illness is not there yet. It's almost there, but it's not there yet. Anyway, yes. Ruth?
The unauthorized fire.
Yes. Similar.
Made me think of.
I love it, Ruby. I love it. Like Aaron's two sons. I love it. Exactly. Just, yeah. There's no, you know what? There's room. I was just discussing this? I was just discussing this with somebody. Our whole life is always like balance, this tension. Like there's always that balance of taking the initiative or just being subservient. And we're always, right? There's always trying to balance and make the right, the whole like Abraham, all the commentaries when there's a famine in the land, they all argue there's no right answer. Should he have lismoch al hanes? Should he have relied on the miracle and just stay there and Hashem would have taken care of him? Or do you take care of yourself and you move and you get food? Like, who knows what the right answer is? You never know what the right answer is. It's very hard. Very hard. Anyway, so let's continue. So Vayomer Shmuel Shaul, Niskalta lo shamarta mitzvat Hashem Elokecha asher tzivach, ki yatzah hechin Hashem et mamlachtacha el Yisrael ad olam. He says, you have done foolishly. You did not observe the commandment of Hashem, which he commanded you. And for now, Hashem would have established your kingdom forever. Had you not made this mistake, you would have been king forever, is what Shmuel says to Shaul. I don't buy it, but whatever. Okay, because he'll mess up next day and then he'll take it. Va'ata, mamlachtecha lo takum,
And now your kingdom shall not continue. Bikesh Hashem lo ish kil vavo. Hashem, what he wanted was for himself a man after his own heart, someone that's going to follow Hashem. V'yitzaveu Hashem lenagid alamo. And the Lord appointed him to be the ruler over his people, Gesundheit. But kilo shamarta et asher tzivcha Hashem. But you have not kept that which Hashem commanded you. Vayakam Shmuel, and that's it. He doesn't give Shaul a chance to answer back. He doesn't. Vayakam Shmuel vayal min hagilgal givat binyamin vayivkod Shaul ata'am hanimtzaim imo keshesh me'od ish. So Shmuel gets up and leaves Gilgal, and he goes back. He goes up to Giva, and Shaul then sees 600 people left. 600 people left. By the way, the same thing happens to Gidon. We're going to go through this in a few, well, we're going to go do this next week. Ted Zayin, Shaul v'Yonatan beno, va'am hamnimtza imam yoshvim begeva binyamin u'plishtim chanu b'michmash. And Shaul and his son Yonatan and the people who were present with them, they were encamped in Michmash. Vayetze hamashchit mimachane plishtim shlosha roshaim. Okay, you know what? Let me go back to my notes here, because we don't have a lot of time. And instead of starting with this new idea, this is going to be part 2 of the war now. The Plishtim, they divide themselves into 3 camps, which is a good strategy, and we're Nebuch, we don't. What's interesting about the Plishtim dividing themselves into 3 camps is that in War 1, pre-King, when he fought against Nachash, that's what Shaul does. He was on his game. On his game in the first war, he divided the people into 3 and we were victorious. Now, he's not on his game because he just got reprimanded from Shmuel. Shmuel just says, kingdom's not going to be with you anymore. And he walks away. So now he's completely deflated. And now the bad guys are doing that good strategy of dividing into 3. I don't want to leave you. You're already closing your books. I'm still talking. I'm going to leave a little bit more. But what I want to tell you is that not to feel sad, because Yonatan is going to save the day in this battle. And it's a great story, like great story. Oh my gosh. It is fabulous to do next week, because you know what the punchline, you know what the main highlight in the story next week with Yonatan? Honey. I'll just tell you. I'm not telling you the whole thing. I'm not going through the whole thing. I have a whole thing. And Meir Soloveitchik did it. And I got this from Meir Soloveitchik, and it's fabulous. But I'm just going to tell you that Shaul, genius, he's not, Monica. He tells, no eating. I want you all to fast. He tells his troops. I love when we're on. Okay. He tells his army, don't eat, because that's a really good way to go out to war. It's to be starving. That's genius. Yonatan, his son, didn't hear the oath. He didn't hear it. And when he's out in the field, he comes across bee honey, which, for the record, I can't believe I'm off. I'm gonna have so much to do next week. But it's so perfect that it's next week, right before Rosh Hashanah. It's 2 times bee honey is mentioned in Tanakh, because honey, eretz zavat chalav udvash, is date honey.
Thank you, Al.
Not bee.
There is, yes, silan. There's no bee honey. There's bee honey twice in all of Tanakh. Shimshon, amazing, and here. Only 2 bee honeys. Anyway, so Yonatan comes across bee honey. He takes his sword, dips it in the honey, licks it, and goes on. Shaul gets wind that somebody had honey. But anyway, so that's the honey. We're going to do that next week. But anyway, it's so cool that we're up to honey, and it's going to be Rosh Hashanah next week. Okay, but I completely jumped to chapter 14. But I just didn't want you to go home thinking, oh no, what's going to happen? So Yonatan saves the day in this war. But what are we up to? But wait. Okay, I guess we're done. I see where we are. We have so much to do because we need to review. I want to review with you textually so many of the similarities between Chet HaEgel and what happened here, just that waiting. It's so similar. Just Judy and Monica, listen for one more second, just because maybe I won't have to do this next week again. It's Shmuel and Moshe are the ones that are waiting for. The number 2 characters, the 1A, which is Shaul and Aaron, are the ones that are pressured by the and give in and do the wrong thing. When Moshe and Shmuel come, reprimand their 1As, Moshe says to Aaron, what the heck? Shmuel says to Shaul, what the heck? They both blame the people. They both blame. The similarities are amazing. Like it really, they're very, very similar. Anyway, so, okay, at least we did that. We're going to go back and do so much more next week, and we're definitely going to do the honey thing next week. And I'll see, I took notes on Sali's share on the honey. Brilliant notes. Okay.
You need a 2-hour class.
Yeah. Or